We're having a branding conversation today because I did a little bit of research on you, and I see that you do branding as well. So if you want to introduce yourself to the public, let them know what you do, who you are, and where they can find you, okay?
Hi, I'm Caroline Cochran, otherwise known as Boardam Realtor. I go by that because I went to Auburn University and I do real estate in Alabama as well as Texas. So I try to rep my school as much as I can.
There you go.
Okay, so I seen that you do branding for like clothing companies as well, right? Is
Yes.
that something that I picked up on?
So I run
there?
my own clothing brand. I have a women's
okay.
golf wear and tennis wear brand. 10% of all proceeds go to at-risk youth, so they can also learn how to play golf and tennis, because I think every person deserves the opportunity to have a privileged life, even if they weren't born into it.
That's awesome.
Okay, what's the name of the brand again?
Clubhouse Apparel.
Clubhouse Apparel. Okay, make sure y'all go follow them. That's the same thing on Instagram?
Yes.
Just Clubhouse. Okay, cool. So we have somebody here who's into the branding. I wanted to talk about the difference or the importance of not only a realtor, but a brokerage having a branding. And what does that mean whenever those two come together? Because we do see a lot of agents end up fighting either with the brokerage or the brokerage is fighting with the agent about what it means to actually be able to brand yourself separately and also team up together to build something at the same time.
I'm not gonna name drop, right? But there's a company from 15 years ago. They were in the Woodlands, and we've had the opportunity to kind of get a little closer insights into how they were doing business a couple of years ago. And these guys dominated the Woodlands. They were like the number one Woodlands real estate group, right? They were growing. Like, you would see these guys at the Woodlands Mall, you would see them at events, you would see them at pop-up shops, you would see them everywhere. So they had like a great brand. Their presence was felt everywhere they were at. And more recently, I just met their broker, office manager. So there's this guy that was running the whole show, and he had this office manager. And I was talking to the office manager about how they were operating their company and stuff. And I think a bigger downfall of their business was their branding part. They did a really good job of branding themselves and their company, right? But like realtors tend to do is I don't know if it turns into like a jealousy thing, or it turns into like, it's so easy, I can do it, or if you can do it, I can do it, right? Whatever that mentality that gets into some realtors, whether it's envy, whether it's whatever it is. A lot of people wanted to start doing things themselves to brand away from the brokerage brand. And this wasn't like a huge group. They maybe had less than 20 people, but you would think that company was like massive. You would think that company maybe had 100, 200 agents.
It dominated the world.
It dominated the area.
Yeah.
Because these guys did such a good job of branding, right? Well, the moment that these agents start wanting to be independent and brand themselves, right? And I was talking to them about their splits and their things that were like terrible splits. Like, it's just crazy. There were 50-50 splits, right? And then there was cost on the agent side. So really it was like a 60-40 split, the brokerage way, right? And when you consider all the things that this brokerage was doing for it, was it a terrible split? I don't know. I think you look at the costs, analysis, and you figure out how much you're making, and if you decide if the money's worth it, right? Apparently, a lot of these agents decided that, hey, I don't want to pay into the brokerage anymore. I want to start doing my own thing, and I think that I can make more money. Fast forward 10, 15 years down the road, these people that were thriving. I mean, this lady's telling me, like, we were making $500,000, $800,000 a year. We were making an insane amount of money. Our top agents were making million plus. One of our agents made $2 million in a year. To bring that in commissions. Like, this is not homes sold. This is commissions earned. Like, this guy was getting paid. From that like peak to where these people are today, it's crazy. I think that agents need to really consider, sticking with the brokerage, power in numbers, branding together, and growing. I mean, to watch that downfall and I never really asked about it. They just kind of disappeared, and I don't know where anybody went. It just so happened to be that
I thought they went out of business. I thought they were no longer here, and turns out, I guess the broker is with the.
It's like a team somewhere.
It's
now.
like a team leader at Keller Williams or something like that.
Yeah.
And so it's funny because, like you was just saying right now, and this is what I always try to push to my agents. I'm like, look, we're hitting you up for 50% of your commission, or we're hitting you up for 60% of your commission, whatever it is that we're taking from you. You're making $100,000, $150,000 a year, right? Versus you turn around, do it all yourself, brand yourself, market yourself, do everything that you want to do, and to make less. right? Because everything else went in cost because you don't know what you're doing. You know, I say, hey, just buy into this. Let's brand this. Let's build this. Even me as an owner, right? I treat this company like its own entity and I pay into it. Literally, I pay into it. And people don't believe that. I'm like, I don't make money off of you guys. I'm paying into this company so that this company can make us all money. So this can exist tomorrow. Because there's just so many companies, and I think I just said that right now, right? I said there's 2 companies here in Houston that have created more spite brokerages than any other brokerage, right? And it's Next Gen and Nan, and so you know, just you know, those they leave the company, start their own brokerage. It's a watered down brokerage, a watered down you know, just version of what that person was doing. And they're not doing it correctly, you know? So, yeah, I don't know. But back to the question, I mean, we just went into a whole freaking rant, you know? But,
yeah.
You know, but go ahead.
Of why I think branding's important.
Branding is important.
That's
but
okay.
what do you think about that? Branding versus, you know, for yourself or, you know, when people go independent?
I think it's a complicated and nuanced subject because everyone's going to have their own individual personality always. But I think what really hurts a lot of people, especially in real estate, is that ego that comes with your work. You know, people are paying a lot of money at the end of the day for you to get paid. You have to feel like you're being of service to them and not have this huge ego. Well, I'm the agent and the glitz and the glam and the Instagram followers and whatever. You have to remember that you're helping someone at the end of the day. And I think when it comes to these brokerages, they really care too much about the materialistic and superficial part of it. And when it comes to being a brokerage, it's just, again, being very individualistic and kind of like a shark mentality or lone wolf mentality. But, you know, humans are communal beings. We're supposed to have community and be a village. The village is supposed to work together and build each other up. But if you're constantly feeling like the people in your office are just competing with you, how are you going to want to really feel safe and open to be your best self and push yourself to hustle? Because you're always going to think, well, the other person's just trying to take something from out of my mouth instead of actually trying to give me some knowledge and help us all thrive. I like more so the mentality of, you know, if I eat, everybody eats. But I see a lot in Houston in general with realtors a lot where it's just kind of like, well, you know, I'm making my commission and I don't care. Like, I'm a top producer and blah, blah, blah. And they just get so big-headed and it's just very performative. We kind of lose the humanity and the authenticity when it comes to things. And I think especially with TikTok now, people don't like that performative facade. They want the realness. I mean, that's why Instagram's kind of dying. People don't really like Instagram because Instagram is what's superficial and fake and it's not realistic. I mean, most people, they would kill to have the life that a lot of realtors have. I mean, going to nice restaurants. I mean, some people, the lunches that we go to with lenders, I mean, they save up a whole year to be able to eat at some place like that. It's just having gratitude. I think money changes people and it blurs the lines a lot. And especially with the internet, you know, in COVID times, a lot of people thought, oh, let me become a realtor. I'm going to leave the club, stop being a bottle girl and be a realtor or whatever. It doesn't have to be that whole pipeline, but that's a stereotype for a reason, you know. People think that going into real estate is going to be quick, easy money. But with building a brand, like, you need to have that trust and people want you to be a real human being, not some brand at the end of the day. Have a brand by being yourself and being authentic and showing your personality. And the people who are meant for you, they'll come to you. And that's it.
I'll say in a couple short words, what does branding mean to you?
To me, I think branding to me is more of I don't know. I mean, there's 3 different brandings for me. One of the branding.
I don't think there's a right or wrong answer. It's just, what is branding?
well, brand. That's what I'm saying. Branding is 3 different things for me, and it's actually things I don't want to talk about on air. But it's tough for me because I brand the company, right, and I brand myself, right, and it's really tough for me to juggle both, right. But yeah, branding to me is more of bringing or highlighting, right. kind of like putting yourself on display of what you do or what you bring to the table, so to speak, right? That's what branding is for me. But I guess whenever you just singled me out, it made me think like, oh shoot, hold on, which branding am I talking about myself or about my company? Because it's two different things, right? It's tough. But I kind of wanted to get a little bit into what you were saying right now, right? You were saying about ego, right?
Yes.
And this is something that's really, really tough for me, because the sales training that I have, or that I came from, ego was always important. And that was something that our sales directors always told us, look, this little cocky kid that just came out the street, was eating at McDonald's yesterday, and now he's eating at Steak and L, which Steak and L was a pretty good restaurant back then, right? And he's gonna get a little bit of ego. He's gonna get a little bit prideful. He start feeling his self-worth, because you can't crush him. You can't take that away from him, because then he's not gonna perform well when he's out there trying to get these sales, right? So that has always been ingrained in me, that ego is important when it comes to sales. And once again, being a real estate agent, you are a salesperson. Okay, I'll say it 1,000 times. People don't understand that. You're in sales. This is a sales industry. Okay, so you need ego to be able to overcome objections. You be able to push yourself forward every day, and to get that satisfaction. And that's what's really hard to get in this business, is satisfaction. The satisfaction of doing something. Another thing you were talking about right now. You were saying that people see these realtors in the restaurants and buying luxury cars and doing these things. And a lot of people come to you, oh man, you're lucky, oh man, that's great. I wish I could do that. I wish I could be, a realtor. I wish I could be in the industry. And, I always tell people, I say, hey, you have a lot more, right, in assets. You have a lot more in a life. You have a lot more of everything that you don't appreciate than most of these realtors out here have. Some of these realtors are literally living closing to closing, which is crazy to me. They're living closing to closing, going to the expensive restaurants, going on these vacations, buying this expensive clothes. They have no money. They are poor, and people don't know this. And there's people out there that, they do have the day job, they do have the hourly pay, but they have assets, they have homes, they have savings, they have, they have family, they have balance, they have life balance, a work-life balance, how they like to say. So just those two things that you talked about right now really, really hit kind of, I was like, oh, you know what, this pretty, she actually has a good head on her shoulders. Yeah. Glad I invited her. I
think for ego is extremely important. I think that it also needs to be checked. I think an ego unchecked is really dangerous. And I think that you need to have leadership around you to be able to check that ego in a proper way. And, a word that Nate likes to use a lot is humility, and to have the humility to be able to accept, being checked at certain times. And it's a difficult thing. I was fortunate enough and cocky enough and disrespectful enough to let my ego either go unchecked or not unchecked at certain times. And it's a thing that you want like constantly have to check yourself personally, right? If you want to be better, because you do have to feel like you're the best. You do have to feel like you're on top of the world. You do have to feel like no one compares to you. And I feel all those things at every single moment. And I could make an excuse of why something didn't get done because I was focusing on something that was more important. You can convince yourself of a lot of things, right? And you have to make sure that you're not lying to yourself, which is something that I was taught very early on, which is you can lie to everybody in the room, but don't lie to yourself. Be honest to yourself about what you are and what you're doing and where you want to go, and everything else is fine. You can put on a front if you need to. You can put on that mask to get through the day. You can do what you need to do, but don't lie to yourself about where you're at and the situation that you're in, and make sure that you have a plan to get yourself to where you want to go. And those things that I was taught and those things that I've learned, I've implemented into our business, and a lot of the exercises that we do here in our training and our sales process here, it's like I'm subconsciously trying to train you the way I was trained, to check your ego, to keep your goal in front, to not lose sight of the things that are important. One of the bigger things that we say here, it's money is a side effect of the things that we do. Customer service focused. We want to provide great customer service. Nate and I talk about whether customer service or it's two-sided, right? We have customer service to our agents. Technically, our agents are our customers. We have to provide great customer service, a great place for them to work, a great experience here. They have to love where they work. They have to love where they're at. Great camaraderie. I got to give them all the things, to be successful, right? So I'm providing great customer service to my realtors, so they're happy working here, right? My realtors in turn need to provide great customer service to their clients. Right? The experience, the home buying process, the things that they learn, all those things are important. So we juggle those two things. Customer service to our investors, customer service to our clients, customer service to our realtors. And that is that like line that I don't think people care enough about. They don't care about the customer service. They don't care about what they're doing. They let things go unchecked. And it's like, it doesn't matter. Money's coming. I keep doing what I want. But that leads to burnout. Mm-hmm. That leads to a failed business at one point or another.
What's more important, do you guys think, whenever it comes down to branding? I'm not sure y'all talked about this because I had to step out. Is it what the brand means to you or what the brand means to your clientele?
I think that's an ego question.
That's an interesting question.
Yeah.
I think what's more important is what the brand means to who you're working for. If you're working for a company, they should have a brand. Their values and vision should align with you, and it should be very easy to push that brand forward. Here, our core values: professionalism, accountability, integrity, family. Those things are important to us, right? If we are all aligned with a brand, we show professionalism, we show integrity, we show that family commitment, all those things, accountability. All the things that we value, that becomes our brand, that becomes our identity, and we get to push that forward, right? So in my opinion, they're kind of one and the same if you're working for the right people.
Yeah, I think where it ends up getting muddied, especially in our industry, is that everybody here, we talked about this last time, every realtor, they think they're the star or they want to be the star, and they forget that they're in a service role. So when everybody's talking about, oh, well, this is my brand. This is how I want to dress. This is what I want to push out. I. Service industry, it's not I, it's they. Who are you serving, right? Ritz-Carlton, the things that they do for their clients, it's not necessarily because they want to spend more money on certain services. No, it's because they know that they're catering to this specific client, and that's how they keep coming back. So a lot of times, I personally think that brand has nothing to do with what I want. What I want, I get my personal, right? I get it on my personal life. My Instagram, I've removed it away from being what I do and what I personally like. And it's more about, okay, what am I showcasing towards my clientele? What I want them to think about me or my brand or my business versus my personal Instagram profile, which is what I like to do, right? So I think that is a major thing that is going to change in 26. And I think this is where people are going to either continue to grow whenever it comes to their brand, or they're going to fall off. Everybody who's selfish and just thinking about themselves, whenever it comes to their brand, they're going to fall off because nobody really cares no more. Yeah. Right? Everybody can have a personal brand, but you want a brand for your clientele, for your business. That's going to be the ones that grow, in my opinion.
Right now that you're talking about brand, and it could be off topic, right? But it's just, how the conversation goes with speaking to me. I, good or bad, like to thrift shop. I've always
I like Chinese food.
I like Chinese food. Yeah. No, good or bad, I've always liked to thrift shop, right? And I've thrift shopped at things since I was a kid. I'll go in, funny story. I think I could be wrong. Nate, you correct me. I think more from my mom tells me one of her first jobs was like that Value Village. That ghetto one on Cross Timbers in 59. And I used to go visit my mom at work, at the Value Village. And I think I used to always go to the thrift stores. And it's like a nostalgic feeling, like just as a kid going through and playing with these old toys. And it's funny because they seem old, but for me, I guess because I was raised around that, the toys have a lot of life and a different story, and it's fun. So I've always enjoyed going, and I've taken my kids there, right? And we go and we walk around, and I enjoy it. It's something fun for me to do. And what I'm noticing is like the brands, like the decline of brands. Of quality. Obviously, you see it and you say it, like the decline of quality in clothes. And I've Giovanni and I talk about this all the time about how we got in school, we got like brainwashed to like save the water with like the little faucets and like, you know, the water's going to run out of the planet and don't do this. And it like made me like this environmentalist somehow. And it's just like, I like don't want a lot of trash and I don't want like to waste a lot of things. And I'm like, it's in my mind. Like I can't get rid of it. Right. So I have like this beef with fast fashion. Like I want to have pieces that I could hold for a long time, and I don't like throwing away clothes. I don't like shopping, and I don't like doing like a lot of stuff. Like it's a lot of things that are just, I think I got inculcated in me since I was young, and it just stayed in my mind. So I'm watching the decline of fashion through the thrift stores. Like you go to these even luxury areas, right? They say, oh, go to like wealthier neighborhoods because the thrift stores are great, which I've never really done. I've gone to like every freaking thrift store. It doesn't matter. If I see one, I'll stop. And I've just noticed the decline in fashion. I've declined the decline in like quality clothes, the fast fashion brands. Like I'm seeing Shein, I'm seeing like crap clothes. It's not sustainable. That looks cheap. That looks like rips easy. And it's just like, I think all this stuff should have been thrown away, you know, versus I vividly remember even 10 years ago, you get the Ralph Lauren's, the old school Tommy Hilfiger shirts, the thick fabrics, thick quality, well-built clothes. You know, now it's just not even, it's nothing like that. I'm thinking these older people are passing away and they're donating everything to the Goodwill or to these value, you know, places. And now it's all just like cheap, fast fashion clothes. It's like, where did the branding, where did the like craftsmanship go? Where did the, like the appreciation for the stuff, where did all that go? It just all like disappeared. You know, and we talk about branding to bring it back here. It's like we want to provide that level of customer service regardless. Whether you're renting a home or buying a $40,000 trailer or a $4 million home, we want to provide you with that great customer service. I'm going to give you the respect of a buyer consultation. I'm going to give you the respect of giving you my resources. I'm going to give you my time and talk to you to make sure that I can provide a great service to you all the way through. And that's what I want my brand to stand for in this world of fast fashion. I want to be that brand that it's like sustainable for a long time, a brand that people can say, I get good service there and I'm going to go. It may be a little more expensive, but I'm willing to pay for it because it's going to last longer. And that's what I want. That's what branding means to me.
Yeah, I was watching this ad on Instagram, and it's for, I don't remember the brand of the bag, but it's just a plain leather purse. It's a bag, right? And the person was there talking about it, and they were breaking down step by step on how the bag is put together, the different style of quality of materials that they use. And this bag is probably just up there with like as expensive as like Louis Vuitton. But the purpose of it was to show the craftsmanship. People are going back to wanting to buy quality versus quantity. So if you start seeing that again, it's like this is what needs to be shown. And the same thing with like within real estate. Realtors need to show, okay, what are you doing, right? Versus we just had a conversation with a developer talking about, oh, they just told me all of this and they didn't do nothing. Yeah. What did they tell me? All social media ads, all this and that. Okay, cool. But where's the results? Where's your actual structure? Where's your systems? As a realtor, as a professional, marketing is the sprinkle on top. Everything else is going to close, especially in the kind of market that we're in and type of times that we're in, goes back to the sales process. So you need to be able to break it down and present it to your clientele on what you're actually doing. Not, I got so many views on TikTok. Okay, cool. How many of those are you converting? Right? Yeah. Like per post, what are you doing? What are you looking at? As any other brand would come to a content creator and ask them, okay, you get so many views, how many of those can I expect you to convert for me? Right? And this is what realtors need to do now.
When you critique the realtors, right, you're kind of just asking them, they kind of go back to what you said, you know, at the end of the day, oh, well, I'm making money. And it's like, it doesn't all translate to making money. You're only going to make money for a little bit. I mean, what does it matter if you made $100,000, $200,000, even $500,000 for 2 years in a row and then you don't make anything? Yeah. It just doesn't make sense. But real quick, you guys just answered a question for me. So you guys got traumatized with this whole water conservation thing when y'all were kids? Is that why y'all walk around with those huge water jugs for 2 weeks and save that water that y'all never drink?
We don't save it. I drink it. I don't want to waste.
We drink a gallon a day.
Y'all don't save that water, man.
I don't want to waste 10 different water bottles.
I don't want to waste a lot of water bottles. I will admit that.
Even though I don't believe in climate change, I still don't want to waste those.
So your clothing brand. So what type? So it's to play golf.
So golf and tennis, and kind of like what you were speaking on. I was very focused on not feeding into consumerism, because being a consumer myself, I'm sick and tired of going to these stores and feeling the fabric, and I'm like, this isn't even gonna last me a year. Why am I spending the money on this? I mean, even like Abercrombie and Fitch, I loved that brand for the longest time. I wore it since I was a child. And then when it was like 2020 or 2019, I mean, the brand just really went downward. The fabric quality was terrible, but they're still charging like a ridiculous price. I mean, $100 for jeans or something like that. So when I made my brand, you know, capitalism at the end of the day has to exist and function the way that it does. I mean, the owner has to make a profit. That's just how it works. So I sought out multiple manufacturers, and if I'm not going to wear it, I would never give it to a customer. I want to make sure I have the highest quality in what I'm doing, and also be more mindful and intentional, because we do have to be, you know, trying to make sure that we're not killing this earth and being super consumers of everything. Because, you know, like those nice cars and those nice dinners, they're nice in the moment, but this is kind of extreme, but I always say this to people. If an asteroid hit us today and we all died, is it really going to matter that you had all that?
True.
What difference did you really make? What was your purpose in life? What genuine change did you make? I always say, like, I want to leave this earth knowing that I made a positive impact in some way, in some manner. The money is nice. Anyone wants a luxury life, of course, but what matters is the impact. Same thing with my clothing brand. I want to make sure that I'm making pieces that make someone feel like, I feel good in this. This makes me feel good. And when I feel good, I can be my best self. And when I'm my best self, I contribute to everyone else. I make the people around me better because I'm showing up my best self in my best way. And that's how everyone should approach life, and even with their branding. And when it comes to working in real estate, if you're not showing up as your best self, you have a bad day, you give attitude to a client, they're going to go around and tell everyone.
Yeah.
They were so disrespectful to me, blah, blah, blah. All they care about is making their money. It shows, because your attitude shows it and your behavior shows it. If you're not holding yourself to a higher standard, how is anyone going to respect you? It shows from anything. And again, with branding, like the clothes that you wear, the way that you speak, the people you surround yourself with, the hobbies that you do, are you really aligned with your highest self? Or are you more so in tune with your distractions and what feels comfortable and complacent to you? Growth is never going to be comfortable. You know, having the nice cars and having the metal credit cards or whatever, it looks nice on the outside, sure, but if inside and your spirit is just really messed up, nothing's going to be in alignment ever.
Yeah, definitely. So you have an organization that that you donate to, or you have an organization? Sorry.
So I'm working on making my own. For right now, my focus is just the Boys and Girls Club, because I think it is really the youth that it starts with, and that's why I want to help at-risk youth.
Salvation Army Boys Club? Or which boys?
Like Boys and Girls Club.
That's just
you
what
know,
it's
like
called?
Little Sisters, Big Sisters.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And like the Big Brother program, they get like an at-risk youth and they team them up with an adult who can be like a big brother or big sister to them.
Yeah, okay.
That's where I'm starting for now, until I can make my own foundation where I genuinely want to teach kids golf and tennis, and eventually be able to donate golf clubs and tennis equipment, and then make it a thing where they have to perform academically, because you want to push them. You want to give them the opportunity to show, like, hey, if I try in life, if I give myself this opportunity and say, I am capable of building a life bigger than what life handed me, then you will be rewarded. But you have to try. Nothing's going to be handed to you in life, no matter who you are, if you were a Nepo baby or not, you know?
How do you feel about people who say, if you want to get there, earn it? Like, you know, like, or I guess exclusivity, right? You know, like, what do you say to people that say golf is not for everybody, or tennis is not for everybody?
I despise that, which is part of why I made my brand and why it's so focused on the philanthropy of it all. Because I think in general, our world, our society, it's very broken. I think, you know, we have systems for a reason. Rich people feel good because they are at the top. Everybody wants to be at the top. Yeah. And in order to be at the top, you need to have people beneath you. But that's just how it works, unfortunately. And I think with these kids, these at-risk youth, they were born into circumstances that they didn't choose. No one chooses to have abusive parents or broke parents or whatever. Their parents chose that though, but they can make the choice themselves, since they're their own individual human being, to say, well, I want to try and I believe in myself. But if you don't even give them the chance, the opportunity, how would they even know that they're allowed into those spaces? You know, I grew up in Montgomery, Alabama for a while, but I'm from here. And it wasn't until I lived in Alabama that I really saw like huge class disparity, because I went to private school over there, and it's predominantly white, and these are all old money kids. I mean, their ancestors owned plantations, things like that, right? So we're talking private jets and things like that. And then you see these kids that come from the public schools who are given scholarships for performing in sports. And it's like a weird system. I feel like it's something that we see a lot, you know, these broke kids, usually kids of color. Well, you're worthy if you're good at sports, but only the sports that we want you to be good at, like football and basketball and things like that. But golf and tennis, you save that for the rich kids because it's expensive and you guys can't afford that. But what if they were given the opportunity and told, no, you are welcome in a country club. You don't have to have rich parents. I mean, it's not even my place either, because I feel like I never had to grow up in that situation. I mean, I've had hard times for sure, but I've never had an identity in being like an at-risk kid or a low-income kid. So it's not really my place, but I want to, if I have that privilege and that blessing, why not give that to a kid and say, hey, like, you are welcome in these places. I don't care what society or, you know, all these norms say. I'm going to give you that opportunity. Because I had an argument actually with an ex-boyfriend. He's a police officer here in Houston. And he asked me a question. He said, do you think that there are good and bad people in this world? And I said, I don't think it's black and white like that. And he got so angry at me. He's like, no, there are definitely good and there are definitely bad people, Caroline. And I told him, I think yes, sure, if we want to make things simple. But everyone has the capability of being good and being bad. The difference between a bad person and a good person is the good person has the ability to be evil, but chooses not to. It's that conscious decision of saying, I have the choice, but I won't do it because I know better, and I don't want to be that way. Whereas, let's say a bad person, what if they were never even given the thought? It's kind of like opening Pandora's box. If you weren't even given that code, like, hey, you can do differently, you can do better, why would you ever believe that you would do anything different? Why would you ever believe that you're allowed in spaces like that? You can play tennis, you can play golf, you can make $100,000 in a year. If you were never given even that little inkling to think that you could, or belief. And it's hard to do that yourself. Maybe someone else needs to instill it in you. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, but you know, it's funny. You know, the whole, you know, good and bad people. Somebody put it into perspective for me a long time ago, and he's, you know, said, you know, there's good people pretending to be bad, and there's bad people pretending to be good. He says, and it's usually the one that doesn't know if he's bad or good that's actually the good person, because it means he has a conscience. So, yeah, it's not black and white. So, yeah, this is pretty interesting.
All right, guys. And with that quote, we're going to end the podcast. We got the Spanish one coming up right in a few minutes.
You speak Spanish, right?
I'm not fluent.
No. Well, me neither. And I still jump on there every now and again. Let them know where they can find you again for both of your pages. That'd be awesome.
Okay. So for my personal page, it's Kimchi Hippie. That's on Instagram and on TikTok. And for my real estate page, it's War Damn Realtor. And if you're curious about my clothing brand, it's Clubhouse Apparel US.
Awesome.
My name is Victorino Cortez. I'm the president here at Lionsgate Realty. We are recruiting. We are growing. If you're looking for a good place to land, look me up on Instagram at Real Presidente.
And I'm Nate Balderas. I'm the master broker for Lionsgate Realty. You can find me on all my social media outlets at Better Call Nate.
All right, guys. And I'm Giovanni Frank here with the HBR Podcast. You can find me on Instagram as Giovanni East HTX. Until next time.
That was a good podcast. You actually have a lot of good things to